On my podcast, it's the Reclaimed Audio podcast. We talk about some of the things that relate to making things from reclaimed materials and making in general, but specifically in relation to reclaimed materials. One of the topics that comes up a lot on Twitter and on our podcast itself is shipping things. Now, I'm not a fan of shipping things, large things. I don't mind envelopes and little boxes, but for the footprint reason and also for the hassle reason. The way I see it, I live in a small state, but there's 3 million people in this state. And if only 1% of them became my customers, that'd keep me pretty busy for a while. Hi, yeah, is this Ann Anderson? Hi, yeah, do you need a dining table by any chance? No, do you know anyone that does? Alright, thanks. Oh, hi, is this Beth Anderson? Do you need a dining table by any chance? Unfortunately, I'm not in the position to just pick and choose all my customers. While I don't seek work that's outside of my immediate delivery zone, sometimes customers contact me outside of that zone, which honestly makes me feel really good, and I like that, and I want to make stuff for them. So I do what I can to accommodate. In this case, this table is going to Ohio. Bill, one of my podcast partners, suggested I make a video about how I go about actually shipping this stuff when it's outside of immediate delivery range, and that's what you're about to see here. In the case of this table, shipping began with the design. I knew I was going to be shipping it, so I made it as a bolt-together frame. Make sure you get a proper estimate prior to giving your customer an estimate on what it's actually going to cost you to ship. FreightCenter.com is a great way to do it. You can enter in the zip codes in the loading dock versus a house. There's different costs. And at FreightCenter.com, and this is not an endorsed video, you can compare all these different freight companies of what's working for you. The other thing you need to know about is freight class. You need to look up the class of the type of stuff you're shipping. Furniture, I don't know the number off the top of my head. I think it's like 90 or 125 or something. But you should need to look that up too because they charge you differently for that. I don't fully understand why, and I don't think they fully understand why. You need to also factor into account that there's going to be some shipping insurance that you're going to have to pay, and you're going to need to spend some money on materials to actually create the object that you're making. And you're going to spend time creating that object. I make all my stuff out of, for the most part, used and reclaimed materials. But I actually had to buy new materials to build this crate. I bought 2 sheets of OSB board at the box store to do that. Now, the other thing I could do is I could buy, or sometimes scavenge, carpet pad is a good padding. Shipping blankets. I sometimes will use my old ratty shipping blankets to ship away because I'm not going to get them back. And then sometimes I do this. I just go to the secondhand clothing store and I buy old blankets. Like this one here is $7, and I got this one here also was $7, which is cheaper than shipping blankets for these size by far, and these will work just as well. And as an added bonus, my customer gets some bedding for their spare guest room. But the important thing is to factor all of that into your shipping costs. If it costs $300 to ship the crate, expect to spend another $20 or $30 on OSB and on some other maybe pieces of wood to finish building the crate. You'll see that in a minute. Expect to spend $20 or $30 on packing materials. And expect to spend an hour or two making the crate. You deserve to get paid for that. Don't lose out on the box. So first I'm going to carefully disassemble everything and get it ready for packaging. The largest piece of this is obviously the tabletop, which is 84 inches, almost 85 inches long by 42 inches wide. So I'm going to need to cut the box to be that size. I'm going to give it just a couple inches maybe. So we'll go like 86 by 43, I guess. This is OSB, or oriented strand board. It's like the cheapest sheet good you can buy. I always put the finished side in against my work and the rough side out against the truck. Just gonna cut it by eye. There's my line. I can actually just use this piece of metal as a fence. Yes, OSHA, I realize this is not an approved dust mask. For making quick cuts like this, it's fine. I have these choice, perfect, straight and flat cedar boards. And I'm just going to cut them roughly in half. If you have dust collection in your shop, I have it plugged into one of those, like a heavy duty, like Christmas light thing, so, which is, oh, that's the off button, so I can just kind of Now I have the foundation of my crate created and the largest piece in it. I can continue to disassemble the furniture, wrap it all up, place it all on top of this, then I'll build the sides and the top up to fit. Now another freight option that's out there is uship.com, and again this is not an endorsed video, but uship is great because you can find independent truckers and delivery, basically guys with trucks and trailers that just drive all over the country picking stuff up and dropping stuff off. Sometimes you can find a really good deal that way. And sometimes you don't even have to worry about crating stuff. You can just have them pick it up, blanket wrap it, and they're just going to drive it, 100,000 miles, whatever, and drop it off that day even. So I would recommend doing that as well. But it's like a bidding thing. It's like that TV show Bidding Wars or Shipping Wars. I don't know. I think it's called that on TV. But where the drivers will actually bid and sometimes try to outbid each other to get your job if it works out for them to make a few extra bucks easily. But I never use uship.com to give an estimate to the customer when I'm billing it all out, because that could go either way. So I use Freight Center, get my price, and then I will sometimes try uship to see if I can maybe get a few extra bucks back in my pocket for my time and labor into creating it. You'll also see I labeled some key points on the table to help him figure out how to assemble it. I need to count out enough bolts and washers and screws for all of the connections that need to be made. But unlike the stores that give you just what you need, or like maybe one extra, I always throw in a few extra in case they get broken or lost or whatever, I always throw in some extra felt feet too. Also, I always throw in a card, a little note saying thank you, and one of my homemade stickers made out of reclaimed door skin and wallboard. I created the top just like the bottom. My cutoffs from this direction are 10 inches, which is perfect. However, the long pieces I cut off are only 5 inches. So that's not quite going to cover what I need. I can use 2 of them on one side, but I'm going to have to either buy another piece of this material or dig something up around the shop to make the sides. I had reclaimed some beautiful oak molding from a large building. And behind it was this poplar that you can see there's a lot of like contractor glue and sheetrock stuck to. Pain in the butt. But I save it for things like this because now I'm going to use it to build some corners on my box. For the fourth side that I don't have enough of this OSB for, I'm going to use this 1/4 inch piece of plywood I have left over from the Lego cabinet that I made. This thing's pretty well crated up. It's heavy as heck, should be safe enough. They're not going to slam it around too much. It can handle weight on top and bottom, so now I have to find the right shipping company and get it to them or have them pick it up. So I'm just going to move this thing out of the way over to the side for now and continue working until I finish doing all that. Well, I didn't get a chance to grab the camera, but as you can see we had some snow out, so we had to put the crate in the back of my truck, bring it up the driveway, and then load it into the back of a box truck. But it's gone, it's on its way to the customer, and that's how I did it. Hey, if you found this video helpful, let me know in the comments below, and maybe I'll continue to do some other videos like this to show a little bit about what it takes to make a business about making things besides just making things. You can also like, share, and subscribe in patreon.com/TimSway if it's in your powers to do so. Thanks a lot and be good.